Hello and welcome back to Pantheon of the Geeks after a very long time. It's been quite a few months. We've been quite busy with little Robert and various other things going on.
Yeah, him sharing his viruses that he's picked up from nursery.
Yeah, I've had major surgery on my hand. It's getting better. So I've not been able to do any videos really until now. And we now have Shatterpoint.
Yeah.
Which has come out today. Well, when we were filming this, it's the 2nd of June. And yeah, so it's just arrived with us today.
Yeah.
So this is completely independent review because we've paid for this ourselves. We don't get anything from anybody. So we're going to have a...
Yeah, this is just really an anniversary present to each
It
other.
is, yes.
As well.
That as well. So we're going to unbox Shatterpoint today, see what's in the box, and maybe put some of it together.
Yeah.
So let's have a look at the box itself. It's a big box. It's not as heavy as I thought it would be. It's about the same size as the Star Wars Armada box, maybe slightly more oblong rather than square. It feels that way anyway. I haven't got two boxes to it, but it's about that weight as well.
Yeah, it seems a weird shape.
It's an odd shape. It's not square. It's just it's sort of like it's rectangular, but it's like tall as opposed to wide. Yeah. But yeah. So let's get this silly thing off. And sorry, on the back it's got some information on the one that's important to me is the size of the card sleeves. So this is Game Genie Orange or tarot sized cards, and we do have some sleeves for them, so we will sleeve up the cards. Let me open it.
Got it? Yeah. Oh, it's a bit like Zombicide box with
Attention's
art on the
killing me.
side.
Actually, my hand's killing me. There we go. Ho ho ho! So let's turn it that way. I expected it to start scrolling up then.
Well, yeah, so did I. Kind of thing with Pantheon of the
Slides.
Geeks and everything like.
So yeah, there we go. So art backdrops. So I did notice on some other unboxings that you do get these in there, and so you basically just, it's a piece of card you turn up. When you take photos of the model, you can have that in the background. So there's literally Star Wars Shatterpoint, and then there's a very sort of maybe tattoo, maybe Geonosis, more Geonosis. It's sort of red sort of colour. And on the opposite side, sort of a Hothy kind of thing going on.
That's pretty cool actually. So you can,
it's nice.
You can show off your models that you've painted.
Yeah.
With a nice background.
We might even do that in a future video. We have a bunch of tokens already coming out as I picked it up.
Yeah.
We have the core rules, which is downloadable online. We will look at that in a future video. Not today, we are just doing the unboxing and look at the models today and see what's in the box. We'll quick flick through just to see how long this is. It's 37 pages, 38 pages, 39 pages. 40 if you include the cheat sheet on the back, which isn't a big set of rules. That's good. To take that off, that is just a piece of cardboard. It's got a nice little star field on it, so you know you could use that as a background if you want for something. And we have a big bag of plastic. This, I imagine, is the terrain. And then we have under here another bit of cardboard. And then we have a big bag, which is definitely terrain, but we've also got some models in there too. That might be the models. At the bottom we have more terrain, and then right at the bottom there's another piece of card. You'll be able to see that before I can, from where I'm sat. We've got all the cards for the game and the dice for the game. That is one of the game components, and the little squares, like little pandemic squares. That's another game I've really used that has had the little squares in, but these are black and there's one clear one. Which we'll go into again in a future video when we actually play it. We have the dice, which, like most FMG games, are specialised dice. With some 8-sided and some 6-sided in there. And then we have the cards, which I'll just have a very quick look at. They're all over the internet anyway. So we have the unit cards. We've got some B1 battle droids. That's the other side of the B1 battle droids. We have Kalani. Sorry for your reflection again. We have Kalani's other side. We have Ventress. And we have Ventress's other side. We have the Mandalorian Super Commandos. And that's the other side. And we have Gar Saxon. Every time I turn it over the wrong way. We have Saxon's other side. And we have Lord Maul. And Lord Maul's other side. So that's like our baddies, maybe, if you view them that way. I don't. And then we have the 501st Clone Troopers. We have Captain Rex, which is there. We have Anakin Skywalker. We have Clan Kreese Mandalorians, which are not specific, but do kind of look like Axe Wolf and
the other woman.
Yeah, kind of. I think they've got slightly different colour schemes on these guys. I've been trying to weigh up because every time I've seen him painted, he looks like Jango Fett, but he's not. So Bo-Katan Kreese, because Jango's coming in another expansion. And Ahsoka Tano Jedi No More. There we go. So those are the characters, those are the cards for the characters. And those are quite big.
They are actually, they're like big playing cards.
Big playing cards.
Yeah.
Well, I might have to find something to put them in or laminate them, I'm not sure which. But they're not turret sized, they're way too big. These, on the other hand, are turret sized. And there's a fair few of these. We have all these, which I'm not going to go into depth right now, but these are like the missions that you try to do during the game. Then we have character cards. They are all there. I think I should use 2 Shatterpoint cards, which are those ones. And then we have the abilities cards, which you use to actually fight. Some of these are double-sided. I'm not sure if they're all double-sided or not. No, they're not. So some of them, like the named characters, probably, are all got 2 sides, whereas that one's the Mandalorians again, and that only has the one side, the other side is just blank. And I think that's Bo-Katan. She only has one side. So it looks like it's mostly just the primary characters. I don't know if any of the second characters have 2 attacks, maybe some of the Jedi do. We'll find out as we go along as well. They are the turret size cards, so that's fine. We've got plenty of turret size. We'll get all those in safe from spillages. Right, let's move the rest of the box. So we have a bag there. So most of this is scenery. It appears the characters. Let's get scenery. Let's see what's in here. Yeah, so there's a bunch of characters in there. I can see Kalani, I think that's Gar Saxon on there as well. Definitely some B1 battle droids. All on that side. We have Ventress is there. Thought there might be like a baddie and a goodie sprue maybe.
Baddie and a goodie.
But yeah, so Darth Maul's on this sprue. I'm thinking for them maybe selling them separately later, but I'd say not, to be fair, because Rex is there, Anakin's there, and Ventress is there. So it's very unlikely, unless they redo the sprues, they're going to sell them separately. From the core set, at least that's my initial thought. And we have a bunch more terrain. More terrain, and we have a whole bunch of bases. Some of these are bigger bases, I think they're for the battle droids because there's 3 on a base. And then we have, so these are a lot like the bases for Crisis Point. Yeah, Crisis Point. Yes, Crisis Point. I got it right. Crisis Protocol, where they're they're about the same size. The bases. I think the carrots are actually slightly bigger than the Crisis Protocol ones. I might have to check that out, maybe measure up against some existing Legion models as well. So those are the bases. There we go. That's a sprue of boxes and ladders. That's the most important sprue in the box. One's already come off it, but that's fine. That's the one that's got the Lothcat on. There he is.
Okay.
We have some more on there. So it's most of the plastic in that box is the scenery. Not unexpected at all. So let's start putting this together. And I think we may as well start with the scenery and get that out of the way. So one thing we missed out of one of the bags was all the little rulers. Can't play a game without these. We have a 2, 3, 4 and a 5. 4, is that right? 2, yeah. And we have this little thing. I think that's for pushing things under things. Then we have these little rulers. These are, I think, the movement rulers. And much like the ones in Legion, they push together. Or should do. There we go. I wonder what I did last time I pushed one of these together and it snapped on me. Yeah, there we go. So now they're pretty much permanently together. These don't need sticking to anything. Got nice reliefs on them though. I don't know whether to paint them or not.
I think we should, to be quite honest, because it seems a shame to waste it when they're quite nice.
I don't know whether to do it just in like a metal colour. So, because it kind of looks like that, like it's a metal relief.
Yeah.
I like that. That's a decision for later on. So we're going to start with scenery, and we're going to do it in order of what it is online. All the instructions for putting this together are online and on the website. And they kind of look, if you can see on my phone, they look like that. So we're going to start with the scenery part of it, and that is the Lothcat. So that's MO3, which is the base, which has a little head of an astromech on as well. And we have the body of the Lothcat and the head of the Lothcat. And the body's just going to slot into there, and the head's obviously just going to go onto that little nodule where the head goes. So let's do that. So there we go. There is a little Lothcat.
Oh.
It's not an astromech. There's Tuca. I'm sure it's a Lothcat. It looks like that. I'm going to look that up later. Okay, so now we're on to the gantries. So the parts are basically stick things together. You can walk across. So it says here, we need parts 2, 3, 3 and 1. In that order. Some sections are optional. And you can use any number of center sections. That's what it says though. So we're going to be getting all these little bits to make a platform. Then we have 4 and 5, which are like railing kind of things, or little steps. Yeah, railings. These are optional. I think they stopped from being pushed off. I'm not sure if that's canon or I just made that up. Then we're going to get parts 6 and 7, which are the gantry parts there, which sort of like keep it up. So you don't need to actually put these on either. These are optional. You can just have it go from one building to another. I'm going to stick them on, and then we should end up with some gantries. So let's have a quick look at these. Okay, so the hand railings are made of these 2 parts. I think it's 4 and 5s. They just stick together like that. That gives you a railing. As I said, these are optional, and when they're on, they'll fit into these grooves. They're not really secure enough to stay in and out, so I'm going to stick them on. You could, if you wanted, magnetise them. There's nice long bits there that you can go on, and you can even cut parts off and put magnets on if you wanted to. I'm going to be fine with these being stuck together and stuck on. So, but what I will say is, I'll say it right now, there are these parts here. So we've got part 1 and part 2 and part 3s. There is literally, what you can see in front of you is almost like 4 bridges. There is not enough railings to go on them all. And then we have the struts which hold them up. And again, these are part 6 and 7. And you can see there, they've got some pegs and some corresponding holes. They just go together like that. You will need to glue them. And there's only 4 of those once they're stuck together. So again, even if you did just 2 on each, you still have 2 without any on. So there's not enough to have 4 identical bridges, unless you just ignore the struts, ignore the railings, and just build them like that. But that's not what I'm going to be doing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stick these together, stick the railings together, and then what I'm probably going to do is make some different sized bridges. Maybe make one long one and put the 4 of these on, so it sort of stands on its own, and then make some smaller bridges. We'll see. So I'm going to go ahead and stick all these together now, and we'll see what it looks like when it's done. Okay, so we have ourselves some bridges. So we've got 2 short bridges, and these are best, I found anyway, to stick them upside down when I was sticking them together, and just slide them together, wait for them to dry. Make sure that you push them on properly, because they do have a tendency to like push themselves out. We have a sort of more medium bridge. This one's got some railings on, just 4 railings, and then everything else went into the large bridge with the pylons on. Hopefully this won't fall apart when I turn it over. There we go, that's how it looks like that. You can put them together however you want. I just thought I'd vary it a little bit, especially with if they'd all been the same, I'd have just built them the same, if it all the same amount of pylons, but made it a little bit more varied. So let me put that to one side to dry. Move them out of the way. So we're going to move on to the tower pieces. Well, it's called a tower on the instructions anyway. So we have parts 1 and 2. And there's 2 of these as well. So we have another part 1 and 2 as well. But parts 1 and 2 go together. So I'll glue them together. And then we have parts, no, sorry, that's part 1 and 4. This is part 2. Part 2 goes on the end, like so. And then you have part 5, which is the top part. So before you put part 3 on, which is this side, you have to put this on. You can't put this on afterwards, because this slides into this bit here. So if you glue this bit together first, you're not going to be able to put this in. So once you put part 5 in, you then add in part 3. Is that the way around? I think it was. And then it'll just be glued together into this box labelled the tower. So there's 2 of those to build. I'm going to go ahead and build them, and we'll continue. Okay, so those are the two tires complete there. One thing I will say is, once you've got the sides on and the end on, it's a very tight fit, so I wouldn't completely push them together until you've got all four sides on, and then clip them into place. It's a lot easier. Next up we have these like support struts for the next layer. These consist of part 7 and part 6, and these all have these little indentations and little pegs that stick it together. So they're going to go together pretty much just like that. So I'm going to stick them together, and then we can move on to the next part. Okay, so now we have our struts. The little guide has it that way around. I don't think it matters, you can build these however you want, or leave them off entirely. But on the instructions we have one there, one there. Then we have part 8, which is platform, which will have stick on to there. So I'll go ahead and do that, and I'll just do it the same for now, and we'll see how that goes on. So I built them both the same. Looking at the final options, you could just leave that bit off and add it onto maybe the bridge or something. I built them both the same for now, and then we're going to add some slightly different things to them. So the next part we need is 9 and 10, which are these two parts here, and they just fit together, so I'm going to glue them on. And then I'm going to need 11 and 12, so once I've glued these on I'll come back with those. Okay, so that's those bits together. Then it's 11 and 12, which are these parts, and they just fit together like that. Then there's part 13, which is this piece, which is going to go on top. That's going to then sit on here, and then we have parts 15, 17 and 16, which are all little antennae that fit into those holes. So what I'll do, I'll just stick that together, come back and have a look at it. Okay, so we end up with this sort of little array thing. So 15 and 16 are long ones, 17 goes in the middle, and then we have 14 as well, which fits in the final hole on top. So that's going to go in on there, finish that off. And then we have some that go at the bottom as well. We have 19, 21, 18 and 20, which all fit into the bottom part. So I'm going to go ahead and stick those in as well. Then once that's on, this attaches onto here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that as well. So I'll be back once I've attached it onto that. So we have the big, whatever the heck that is, stuck onto the side. Looks like some sort of weather monitor instrument. Then we also have these ladders, which are pure. So you have the option of maybe sticking them on there, or sticking two ladders together and making a double ladder, and that would sit up against there. So I've made two double ladders, and I've left all the other ladders in the set as single pieces. I'm not going to stick these to the actual things, I'm going to paint them separately, plus it gives me the option of taking them off, putting them on, maybe even using them as a makeshift walkway. So I'm just going to stick two of them together, which I have done, and the rest are just going to be left as single piece ladders. So now we're going to move on to what is called the tech shed, which is the R sprues. And I'm going to need parts 1, 2, 3 and 4 to start with. Back in a moment. So here are the first parts for our tech shed. We are basically building a fancy box, which is fine. These will go together like that. That's the back piece, the circular, not circular, curved piece. They'll all fit together, and then the roof section will go on afterwards. So you can fit this together, then put the roof on. I'm going to go ahead and do that. So then we'll come back and we'll do the next part. So there's the tech shed so far. Now we do the add-on to the tech shed, which is these parts here. I'll just go off.
6, 7, 8 and 9, I believe.
So 6, 7, 8 and 9.
Yeah.
So this makes like a small console type thing. So those are the sides, back and front, and then it would be 12, 10 and 11 as well.
Parts there.
So that's the top part. I'll go on to there. That's the front console. That'll fit into that recess. And then this little bit, I think, just goes into the top part there. So I'll go ahead and stick this together. So there we have our console, which would sit on the back of the tech shed or on the floor. Because this is optional, got this little vent here. And this is the other thing that can go over this. So we'll put this together. This is like a little radar dish. This is parts 14 and 13. Then we have parts 15. And then we have part 16, which is this bit. And then we have parts 18 and 17. Now these go around this bar. So they need to be stuck on like that. And then the radar dish will attach onto that bit. So I'll go ahead and stick that together as well. So that is our little radar dish done. And you can leave it so that it can be moved. Just be careful when you're gluing this bit on that you don't get glue on the two parts and not glue on the bar in between. So we have that also fits over there if you want, or can be completely separate. I do kind of like the idea of having this controlling that wherever it is on the battlefield. It kind of does seem like it could. Maybe having one just on the ground and having that separate, so you've got a bit more ground cover. But there we go. So we'll now move on to the next and last building in the core set, which is the vent building, and that is sprue S. Okay, so we have this piece here, which I think is like a back wall. We have this piece here, which is a side wall. That is going to attach onto there, and you can see those two bits sort of interlink. This bit is going to go onto here where the door is. And we have makings of a box. And then these two parts, the top part and this bit here, that's going to fit into there, and that's going to become the roof of this. So I'm going to go ahead and stick these together and then return. So next up we have the other side, which is this part. That's going to go on there. And then we also have this bit, which is going to fit in this middle piece there onto that. So that was 2 and 5, and then 4, which is this big bit, will fit onto the front of that. So I'm going to go ahead and stick that on. So now we're doing all the vents on this building here. So first up we have these two parts, which is just that goes onto there, and this part, if we go over there, there's a little cutout section, that will fit on to the front plate. We go around the back, we have part 13 is going to go on here, part 14 is going to go on here, then we have these two vents which will go over these, and then finally we have this little control panel which fits over this gap here, and again there's a little cutout section for that. And that'll finish this building, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then we're on to the crates, which is the last bit actually. Because they're so easy to put together, I'll show you now, the crates are just two pieces, T1 and T2, and they literally just fit together like that, and you have that nice Star Wars style crate. So I'm going to go ahead and glue them together as well. May as well come back with all the terrain done. So that is the terrain done. Pretty cool. It's pretty generic sort of sci-fi terrain, which is great for Star Wars, because Star Wars can pretty much have anything it likes. But I could use this in anything, to be honest. Stargrave, using 40k even. It might look a bit bulky and a bit big, but there's no reason why not. It doesn't say, it's not got like Empire logos on it. Well, I might paint some, but there's nothing there default. It's pretty sturdy too, actually. Big and sturdy. now it's together. I like it. You know, I do like it.
Yeah, it's nice plastic as well. It's
and it's glued together really well.
Yeah.
So the scenery's done. So in a future video I'm going to paint this along. We also do have the other scenery boxes coming as well. So we'll do unboxings for those. And I'll either do this one or wait until I get all the scenery to do it. So for the rest of this video, now we're going to move on to the models, which is really what the main event is really. So have a look at all the different character models. So let's start with those. Okay, so on with the characters. We're starting back at the top with the instructions online, which is sprue A for Anakin in this case. So we need parts 1 and 2 for the body, 4 and 5 for the legs, 7 for the lightsaber arm, 6 for the normal arm, 3 for the head, and that'll be it. So these lightsabers are actually meant to be quite brittle from what I've heard. So we'll see how easy they are to get off. So let's get the parts. Here are the parts for Anakin. The lightsaber is very thin, it pings a lot. I haven't often seen things quite this thin. That could easily be snapped off during cutting off and after, so probably going to need to be careful with that. That's the bad news. The good news is that if you did need to, you could probably pretty much replace this with a piece of wire. Because it is so thin. You can get a drill into the end of the lightsaber, put a bit of brass rod. It is very thin, like you see there. You could replace it with brass rod. Yeah, that should be easily done. So, we have the two parts of the body first. These is a little peg in the middle. So this will just go together like that. Then that leaves a nice part there for this peg to go in. So we'd glue the two pieces of leg together, leaving this peg, which will then insert into the body. And then it's just a case of adding on the arms and legs, which all go into very specific sized holes for the pegs to go in, so there shouldn't be any problems. I'll glue them together, see if there was. And there is Anakin finished, pretty easy to put together. Well, I said there are some mould lines on him, so they'll need cleaning up with a knife or a mould line remover. I know nobody likes mould line removers, but I usually use them. But yes, a knife would be probably better on some of the parts of this because it's quite brittle. Yeah, especially when you're taking like lightsabers off. You might need some either sharp nippers or a knife to do that. So be careful. But there it is, Anakin. So there we go. He will go on my first whistle. No, he will go on one of these bases. So there's two size bases in the set. These two larger ones are for the B1 battle droids because there's 3 models on a base. Everybody else in the starter set goes on these size bases. So I think these are 40mm and the bigger ones are 50mm, I think. Looking at them, I'm just eyeballing it. They're either 50 or 60, but they are 40mm. So he will go on one of these, not decided which. I'll be painting them separate from the model. So I probably will need to either blue tack his feet onto a cork or drill a little hole into his foot in order to get him onto a cork and then onto the base afterwards. Not decided which way I'm going to do it yet. Plus I need to talk to Claire because Anakin's one of the models she's going to be painting. So there we go. So the next model I think is Rex. Captain Rex. He's on sprue B. And he is part B1, B2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then we have an optional head for him. We also need 7 and 8 and 10 and 9. Wow, there's a lot more parts. So just quick show you the instructions. Again, you can download these from Atomic Mass Games. So that's what it looks like. There is an optional head on this guy, so Claire's also going to pick whether she's going with helmet or head.
Helmet.
Helmet? Final decision?
Yeah.
Cool. Right, let's get the parts. Okay, so we have the legs. I'm going to put them together first. And wondering where the end of the glue is. So am I. So using it blind, got to be careful it doesn't sort of like have too much on it though. So the legs for Rex go together like that. Next up we have these parts of the body, which are basically like is it like a tabard, would you call it?
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the exact term is for it. So these will go together, if you can see it on the camera, like that. And then they will go on top of the legs. And then that will be followed by sticking the body together, which again is just a peg. And then that will go on top of that. And then I'll come back. So there is the body so far. Still got a sort of a wide stance like Anakin. Same sort of like flowing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The models are very similar so far. But this is where they sort of get different, obviously, other than the fact he's wearing armour. We have both arms that go on. Yep, there they go in that slots there. There's a tiny little hole in the back of his belt. That is to attach this tiny, tiny little thing that goes on the back. It's like a container. I don't even know what's meant to be in it. I think it's grenades. I'm not 100% sure. I'm pretty sure it looks very much like the thing that was on the back of German soldiers. Stormtroopers have them and everything in Star Wars.
A little bedroll or something.
It's the smallest bedroll in the world for the pet gerbils. Yes, but I think it was a grenade hole. I'm not sure. It could have been anything, but it was like a small canister that they had on the back. I don't know. I'll have to look that up. If anyone knows, put it in the comments. But then there is the shoulder pad, which goes over Rex's left arm, so it's going to go there. There is a little notch cut out of the shoulder and a tiny little peg on there. That's where that's going to attach. And then I was opted for the helmeted version. So we've got two parts, the face plate and the back of the helmet. They're going to go together, and then I'm going to put the head on. So I'll finish putting them together and come back. So there we go. There is Rex. Looking good.
Liking that.
Yeah. Cool. Okie dokie. And then we're on to sprue C for Clone Trooper. So we have Clone Trooper A and B on this.
Okay. So
Clone Trooper A is CO2 and 1, then 3, 4, 5 and 6. So it looks pretty straightforward to put together. Let's get the parts off. B is 13, 7, 8, 12, 14, 9, 10, 11 and 15. Let's get all the bits off. So the first Clone Trooper, pretty straightforward. With the body and the legs together this time. We have the front part of the body, which is going to go on that large peg there, which leaves this hole at the back, which are much easier, whatever that was, on Rex to put in there because it's got a much larger tab. Will go in the back there. Then it's just a case of putting the arms and the head on. So I'll do that and come back. So there he is. The second clone is similar apart from the legs are separate and the arm isn't connected to a gun initially. So the gun will have to be fitted on. That goes on quite easily over there. And the legs will just be fitted on as separate fittings. They go on the bottom there. So let's put him together. Clones. Cool. So that is your first sort of like battle squad unit, whatever.
Cool.
So now we move on to the next one, which is Ahsoka.
Okay.
She is D.
Mm-hmm.
D 1, 2, 4, 3, 5, 7, 6, 8, 9, 11, 10.
Okay.
That's the order they are on the instructions. So let's get all those parts off and we'll start sticking her together. Okay, so Ahsoka, we start by sticking her body together, which is these two parts, 1 and 2. There is a little peg, like the other bodies, so that should go on no problem. Her head consists of 3 parts. We have this bit here with a face on, and then we have most of the back of her head, apart from, is it, what do they call Laku or something in the attachments?
I don't know, to be quite
I
honest.
can't remember. But this bit here as well goes on the back of her head there. So there's 3 parts to make up the head. So then we'll attach that to the body. Bottom half of her body is this basic kilt type skirt thing she's got going on. Armoured, cool. We have 8, that's part 8 and 9. The legs will fit into the holes made by that. Then we'll put her arms on with the 2 lightsabers. So let's do that. So there it is, Ahsoka. So far the most fiddly model to put together, to be fair. Still went together. I've no real tips on that one, just other than put the body and the lower half and the legs, make sure the legs and the lower half are set and they're at a good stance. And then get the head, make sure that's set onto the body and get the arms in place. There might be some you might have to wait a few minutes for extra drying time with this one just to make sure everything's in place because it is fiddly. So there is Ahsoka.
Cool.
And just to prove that she's solid. Next up is Bo-Katan. Who's E on the sprue, and that's 1, 2, 7 and 8. Oh, we've got choice of helmet here again. Helmet or no helmet. What are you going for?
No helmet.
Dun 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 dun.
Bo-Katan walks both worlds.
Alright, okay.
This is the way.
Fair dues.
Yeah, well, you know.
So we need 5, 4, 6, 10, 3, and then we have all this
Yeah.
funky backpack stuff as well.
I'm just interested to see what her special ability is, like something like screaming I saw a mythosaur.
You need, no, it only works if you've got the armour as well to go this is the way and just gaslight her. But I did see a mythosaur, this is the way. If you believe me or not, this is the way. So yeah, so there is Bo-Katan Kryze's head. Body and part of the arm is there. So those 2 parts are going to go together. We have, she's obviously in flying position because she's got all this MacGuffin. So her legs are going to go into those slots. There are 2 little pegs. Is that a peg? Kind of. It's a slot. So that one goes on that side, that makes sense. That one's going to go on there. That one's going to go in there. She has a gap for the gun holster. There's a gun in it as well. On her leg. That. And then her arms are going to place. Obviously you've chosen the head there. The backpack. Obviously this is the part that's going to support her. As opposed to having a flying stand. I do think it looks better than a flying stand, to be fair. So this is going to consist of 2 parts. There's a little bit there left off the sprue. Let's get rid of that. And these 2 parts are going to have to go together so that that goes there. That will then attach to the base. Have we decided on bases? Do you want them attaching to bases before we paint them? Or how do you want to do it?
I'm just thinking, we painted the Marvel Crisis Protocol on the bases. Don't see these guys being that much different.
They're a bit bigger.
And like you say, that the stances are quite wide so far.
Yeah.
So I
to be
think...
fair, you're not missing a lot of detail out.
No.
You know what, let's do, let's put them on the bases. So we'll go back and put these on the bases as well. Mid decision there. So let's both get Bo-Katan together. I'll come back with any issues with her, but she should go together quite easily. And then I might attach them to bases as well before we come back. Let's go. Okay, so we've done some base sticking on of Bo-Katan. Very cool model. The only thing I'll say is when you come to the smoke, stick there's a little peg on the back of a foot for this side. Stick that on there first, then match up at the bottom because it doesn't quite join up at the top. You can see there. That's an excellent model, I like that. Now the next Mandalorian, is that the female Mandalorian? It is, isn't it? So she is front and back. Same with the helmet. She's wearing a helmet. She's got a front and a back side of the helmet. We have the arms there, the gun there, and we have a single backpack this time. So she's just like a small version of Bo-Katan as far as sticking her together. She's even got the hip gun as well. So we'll stick her together and then come back with the next model. There she is.
Cool. Very nice.
Put her quite far back on the base and push her forward just a little bit. There we go. She doesn't have quite as much arc on the jets as Bo-Katan. Next is the male Mandalorian. Again, we have all the same parts. We've got back and front of the body, legs are separate, two halves to the head. So a backpack, this time he's standing on the ground, he doesn't get any fancy smoke. Which is probably most upset about. He's also a Boba Fett one, or Jango Fett wannabe, because he kind of looks like Jango Fett. In the respect that anytime I see him painted, I think he's Jango Fett. So hopefully Claire will paint him with a bit more blue, less silver on his armour.
Yeah.
I think it's meant to be Axe Wolf, but they're not named, these two guys, so it could be any Mandalorian. So we'll stick him together, get him on the base, and then that's Claire's models done. And there is the last Mandalorian.
The Last Mandalorian.
The last Mandalorian for the next 10 minutes or so.
New TV series coming soon.
Right, so we'll move on to Lord Maul.
Okay.
And for that he is under G. G1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. With his double bladed lightsaber. Nice. So no options for Maul. No like Darksaber and etc. like the he's basically more like the original version of Maul for Legion. So we have both sides of the body, which create this with the gap in the middle. That gap is filled by putting this to either side. This is kind of like the part that's holding these mechanical legs and stuff together. So that's going to go on the outside there. Head comes in two parts, front and back. Legs will go on the bottom, and then the arms will be attached. And that is it. So like put him together. So Lord Maul, there he is. Looking awesome. As ever. Next up is Gar Saxon. He's the guy literally with all the options. So again, he's a dude with the backpack. We have the legs are two pieces there, and there should be another part. Rest of the leg. There it is. Body, those two pieces. Head, two options, either with or without helmet. Helmet is a two-piece again, like the rest of the Mandalorian helmets. The head is there. It does look cool. Then we have the option of a sniper rifle, which looks cool, or pistol. and shield. So the Legion version of this model that I've got actually has the sniper rifle. I think it does look cooler, but because this is a bigger model with a bit more detail on, I think what I'm going to do is use the shield. I think it'll make it a little bit more interesting. Because as cool as the sniper rifle stance is, when you come to paint it, you've either got to add colours onto the sniper rifle that it wouldn't have, or then it's all black and it's not, it doesn't stand out as well, I found. But there is a lot more detail on this one than the Legion version. So yeah, I'm going to go with shield pistol, in which case there's even a holster missing the pistol for that side because he's got it in his hand. So they've thought of that, which is good. Helmet or no helmet. The face is excellent. It's so well detailed. But the helmet is just spiky greatness. And with him because I'm building this as a sort of like a close combat build, I think probably, I don't know. I'm going to decide when I get to it, I think. I'm going to still stick the helmet together, because if I don't put it on him, I might put it on his base, like he's taken it off, or dropped it. I'm going to have a think. Anyway, let's start putting this together, stop jabbering on. So, I'll stick the bodies together first, and then we'll move on to the legs, get those together, and then we'll put the pistols. I'm definitely going to go with the pistols. So the holster on this side needs to be empty. Right, let's go ahead. Okay, so Gar Saxon. In the end, the spiky helmet was just too tempting. The shield goes onto a little peg on his wrist. I don't know if there was anything else I noticed while I was sticking him together. Pretty straightforward. I like having all those options. It just always makes me very indecisive because they all look good. Initially I would have gone with no helmet and sniper rifle, but no, I'm quite happy with that. I think it'll look good once it's painted. Next up, under the Mandalorian. This is the female commando. We have front and back body. We have these sheaths that go over the legs. It's very much like if you built the Legion Super Commandos. It's exactly the same, really, just on a slightly larger scale. She's got a slightly smaller backpack, and then again a two-part head. No spikes on this one. Gun holster. She's not jumping in there. She's on the ground. So let's stick it together and have a look. Okay, there she is.
Cool.
Pretty cool. The next is the male Super Commander Mandalorian. So this guy is actually the last of the Mandalorians for this set. Many Mandalorians in this set.
Also, that other guy doesn't get his TV series then?
No, this guy's actually the last of the Mandalorians.
Ah, right.
Sorry. Goes together pretty much like the others, front and back, ahead, separate legs. The backpack's doing the heavy lifting. That's it. Let's put them together. Okay, so we have Super Commando. So that's my first battle squad force ready. Next up we have Ventress, who is on the J section, so J1 through 7. Not a lot of pieces for Ventress. Most of the mass is made up of this skirt she's wearing. It's got 3 points of contact on the inside there, easy to put together. Her body, 2 parts. And then that will attach with that tabard she's got on down the front, like that. Now attach head and 2 lightsabers. Let's go. Okay, and so one Ventress. There she is. Next up we have Kalani, who's K on the sprue. So he has front and back body. Oh no, he's got a lot of gold piping on this model. Unlike the super tactical droid, doesn't have any of the markings on because it's quite small. This guy's got it, got it all. So the front and the back go together with a neck piece and a head. That's very similar to the Legion version. We have separate legs though, and pelvis. Then we have optional arm behind his back, and optional arm holding a little map, which I like. So we're going to go with that. The map's attached by this little pin that he's got in his hand. So that's how I'm going to build him. The other option is to have a stretched out arm, like pointing or grasping, and a blaster arm shooting. Apparently he's pretty good in combat from what I've heard, so shooting.
Cool.
But I still want to put the map on because I think it looks cooler. And he's more of a tactician to me anyway, so that's what I want to represent. So let's get him together on the base. Okay, so Kalani. Now, he's a bit of an awkward stance, to be honest. And the connections, again, like the B1 battle droids, are a bit thinner. However, because this is a bigger model, they have gone together. Okay, he's just in a very strange stance because his legs are sort of tilted forward. So what I've done, I've tried to tilt his back, so it looks like he's puffing his chest out almost. Because of the way he's got his arm behind it. Anyway, he's sort of like staring down at this city that he's about to attack or whatever. He's planning his objective. I think it's turned out quite well actually. From this sort of, I was a bit worried it looked like he'd just be tilted forward, but no, I think it's turned out quite well.
It's turned out really well, that.
The legs are tilted, so be aware that when you come to put this together, you can't change the knee joints on it, so the legs will be in that position. So when you come to position your body, you do have a lot of movement on this, so there's a lot of place you can move the arms, torso, face, neck joints, but the legs themselves are pretty much stuck in that position. Unless you wanted to do some cutting and filing and pinning, etc., to change the position of the legs. But no, I'm quite happy with that. He's sort of inquisitively looking at his next target and also puffing his chest out and sort of like a robot. You wouldn't expect a robot to do. I kind of like that one. So there we go. So that's Kalani. So now we move on to the last models, which are going to go on these bigger bases. So I will not be attaching these to the bases simply because I need to paint them individually. And these are the B1 battle droids, which last time I stuck some B1 battle droids together, I had an absolute nightmare. But I don't know what it was. I honestly think it was the glue. I'm going to blame my tools. I think the glue was going off and it wasn't sticking properly. So there are 3 different battle droids, A, B and C. They're all on L on the sprue. So this is the first battle droid A. And we have, again, separate legs. And we can see the attachments for these much smaller than attachments for the other models, but bigger than the Legion variant, if you will. Front and back of the body, we have the backpack with the little antennae on. We have 2-part head, we have the front part. So this is actually attached to the neck, which is different from Legion. We just have the back part of the head, which is there. And then we have the hand and shoulder there, and then the blaster on the other one. So let me stick this guy together. Like I said, he won't be on the base. I'm a bit concerned about that because I had to, when I was sticking Kalani together, I did the legs first and got the pelvis in place. Just something I can't do if I'm not sticking to the base. So I had all the legs stuck on the base and everything, so making sure it was flat and in there. So we'll see how this goes. Back in a moment. Oh, and yeah, there are 2 of the A's as well. So I'll come back with 2 models. So yeah, I haven't thrown them out the window yet. The fiddly. They are the most fiddly models in this set. They're not quite as fiddly as the Legion versions because they've got slightly bigger joints, but they're still fiddly. And because I can't attach them to a base until they're painted, it's making it a bit fiddlier to make sure the legs are straight and on. And that's the key, make sure your legs are in the right place before you put the arms on. We'll just continue through. Annoyingly, there are 6 of them. So the next one is B, and that is 11 through to 20. 11 through to 20. This guy's going to be kneeling though, so that should be slightly easier to get to line it up. Very slightly. So let me come back with those parts. So apart from the fact he is kneeling, it's all the same bits really. And then the next one will be 21 through to 30. And he's standing up a little bit like this guy, just in a slightly different position. So I may as well just stick them all together and come back with some finished battle droids. Okay, so those are the 6 battle droids, 2 of each. Yeah, bit of a pain to put together. Not as bad as the Legion versions. But there we go. So that's all the models from the core set. And they'll obviously go on these bases. Yeah. What do you think?
Me, I think they're really nice, well-detailed models, to be quite honest. A lot of motion in them kind of thing, especially like Ventress and Anakin.
Yeah.
Certainly Ventress with the skirt that she's got. I think there's some really nice models.
There's no model there I don't like.
No.
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 Even, I mean, I don't like sticking together B1 battle droids, but I do think they look cool. So, cool. Yeah, that's great. I think my favourite model from your guys is Ahsoka.
Yeah.
And then probably Bo-Katan. Not that there's anything wrong with any of the others.
You just don't like that Mandalorian.
Go away. Not that there's anything wrong with any of those. They are very common. I just like the sort of action poses on those ones.
Yeah, definitely Bo-Katan for me, I think.
Bo-Katan?
Yeah. I think that the motion in the model is very cool, to be quite honest. And having seen her in The Mandalorian, it's exactly what I envisaged as a model of her, to be quite honest.
So she'd be your first pick?
Yeah, I'd say so. And then Ahsoka, to be quite honest, yeah. Out of yours...
mine...
I like Ventress.
Ventress is my favourite model.
Ventress for me.
And that's a surprise, but now I've stuck it together. It's the motion. I mean, she's practically in the same stance as Darth Maul, to be honest.
She is,
if you look at them both.
If you look at her hand, she's pointing as well.
Yeah, it even goes down to the detail of having her fingers pointing at who she's about to take on.
Exactly.
I just think there's a lot of motion in there. Face has got the anger on it, that's correct. It's such a nice model.
Yeah.
And after that, it's not actually Darth Maul, even though I do like Darth Maul. And I like Gar Saxon. I thought he would be at least my second favourite model. But actually, it's Kalani.
Really?
Yeah.
You see, mine's Gar Saxon.
The thing about Kalani, I think the problem is there's very few stances you could put him where he wouldn't look like he was about to fall over.
Yeah.
I know this is counter to what I just said, but I preferred if they had made the knees separate and so you could move them. Which is a counter to everything I've just said about but the position that they're in, he's really pushed forward. But I think putting him where he's sort of like puffing his chest out, and that's the stance to do him in. For me, anyway. People will be able to put him in different stances and he'll probably better or just as good. But yeah, Gar Saxon, he's great. He's basically Bo-Katan, but evil.
Yeah.
There's a lot of options with him though. I'm surprised that they didn't give Bo-Katan like a shield option too.
Yeah.
To be fair. But he looks cool.
Yeah, I do like Gar Saxon, like I say. I think for me it'd be Ventress and Gar Saxon.
So Ventress is the best of the models from the baddies. And then we've got almost a tie.
A tie between.
Bo-Katan and Ahsoka.
Yeah.
There we go. So that's our opinions. Other opinions may differ, and that's fine. So the next video we're going to do some unboxings of the extra terrain, because that has turned up while in the middle of filming this. And I'm going to do probably a quick painting video on, I don't know whether I'm going to do one or more. I'll see how the first one goes. It's been a while since I've done a painting video, but I'm going to be starting with the battle droids simply because I want them on the bases so we can play the game with all the models on base at least, if not painted. So these guys are going to go first. They're also going to be quick because I'm going to paint them the same way I did the Legion versions. Stay tuned for that, but thank you for watching and rejoining us if you have done.
Just one point, I'd like to know what you think of the box set in general. Do you think it's value for money? And do you think it's a well put together box set?
I think you get plenty of terrain in it. There's enough to play the game. There's enough models to play the game. So as far as model count and terrain and being able to just play out of the box, yes, if you compare it to the price of other products out there. I'm looking at you, Games Workshop. Because games, I mean, ultimately it's like, oh, this is worth this, but it's the company that's printing it that's saying how much it's worth. So it's worth how much you're willing to pay for it at the end of the day. At full price, I like the models. It's worth getting if you really want it, if you're really into Star Wars. If you're not really into Star Wars, no. However, we didn't pay full price because we got it from Chaos Cards, who had a significant discount on it. Because of that, it was worth the price we paid for it, I would say. That's the borderline. I said the retail price as it is now, which is what you've really got to go off, is really on that borderline of it just being too expensive, between it being cool, and you've got to measure up. Do you want a new game? Have you got Legion already? Do you want to invest in this? Because it's not just a core game you're going to be buying at the end of the day. And moving on to that, where this falls down for me a little bit is the choice of who's in this.
Yeah, I think for me it's the era that they've gone for.
That's one thing. I would have preferred to see them go for the Republic versus Empire era, but they've gone with Clone Wars. Okay.
But again, I suppose Legion is Empire versus
So
Rebels. So
that was the initial opening for Legion.
Yeah.
And then they went on to Clone Wars. This did seem to be doing it the other way around. A bit confused on like the Inquisitors are coming out soon, but then there's no real other models other than the dual set, which I don't think is value for money. And even then, you wouldn't have two full squads, because I think you basically have two squads. That squad, and then that's a squad with the battle droids. Two squads make up the strike team. And the problem here with these ones is Ventress and Darth Maul never really worked together, and I couldn't actually see them working together. They've always been on opposite sides, and I really think that it should have been Ventress and Dooku in this set.
Yes, that would have made more sense.
Maul and Savage with the witches set. That would have made a bit more sense to me, because even like Maul and Dooku wouldn't work really. I mean, the whole point of this game is you can match them up, but what if Darth Maul and Ventress had worked together? And that's fine, but I'd rather the opening set had been a bit more people who did work together.
I suppose if you're going for a story-driven scenarios from the Clone Wars animated series or the actual films, then yeah, I can see why you'd want that kind of synergy.
We have Ahsoka, Bo-Katan, and the Mandalorians. That's
that
great.
makes sense.
That's perfect. That's season. That's the last season of the Clone Wars, though.
Yeah.
And then we have Anakin and Clone Troopers. Perfect. That's all the seasons of the Clone Wars right there. Yeah. Putting them together doesn't actually quite work unless you go in there. What if Anakin and run back to Coruscant scenario? Because at no point were they really all fighting alongside each other like this. Ahsoka with them, yes, but not the Mandalorians.
No.
It doesn't. And it just feels like, okay, maybe Ahsoka and Darth Maul should have been separate box sets. They should have had Obi-Wan and Count Dooku, and then that would have felt more. It'd have been more Clone Warsy.
Yeah.
Like, from all the episodes of the Clone Wars, that would have felt more natural to me, if you will. As it is, they're all brilliant models. As we are going to be getting the other box sets when they come out, it's not a big issue. But if someone's not going to be buying all the box sets when they come out and don't want even more money ploughed into this, that's something to consider as well. Do you really want to get into this and buying all the other box sets that are coming out just so you can have slightly different combinations? The good thing is it's not quite like Legion where you've got the extra cards and stuff and then you're mixing and matching them, because it's literally that box set is that box set.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's no like
so
war gear cards.
It's fairly straightforward, because there's not everybody likes to get the cards and then go, right, which little card am I going to take and which am I not going to take. Not everybody
I
likes.
love that. I absolutely love it.
You love that.
You're less so.
I'm less so. So I just like to be given a card and go,
have any of that.
There you go. That's what you're playing with, and I'm happy. I know what I'm playing with. I know what I need to do.
This is literally, you choose the character you want.
Yeah.
And then that opens up a support character slot, and then so that'd be primary, secondary, and support.
Yeah, I'm hoping in the future that they branch out into the other Star Wars franchises, not so much the new 3 one.
Oh God, no.
We're not going to talk about those, like Last Jedi and Rise of the Skywalker.
We do know from the reveal that
pin it, leave it.
Vader, and not the Vader in the Do Not Run set. There's a Vader set with Stormtroopers, and there's a Luke, Leia, Lando, and R2-D2 set from Return of the Jedi. They've been previewed, so they can't be far off on the horizon. I imagine they'll bring it out before the end of this year because it's the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi, so we'll see those.
Yes. I mean that's
and
fine.
I also want to see more Republic versus Empire era stuff.
Yeah, I'd like to see some of the other series like Ahsoka, some of that coming in, Rebels.
Again, Rebels have also been previewed.
Yeah, so I'd like to see some of them. Mandalorian, there's loads of characters from the like Mandalorian.
We know we're getting Mando and Grogu.
Definitely. So,
but who's going to go with him? Is it going to be like the Armourer and some random Mandalorians? Is it going to be Paz Vizsla and some random Mandalorians?
I think it'll be Bo-Katan, to be quite honest, because of season 3.
We've already got Bo-Katan.
I know, but it'll be Bo-Katan older.
No, it doesn't. I mean, if you put the helmet on, she's no different.
She isn't, which is why I kind of went helmet off kind of thing in the...
I mean, I think we'll get another Ahsoka, because we've got with the Plo Koon set, we're getting the Padme Ahsoka, and if people were lucky enough, they've got a pre-release version of that. So we've got the Padawan, and then we've got End of the Clone Wars, and then we've got Ahsoka with the white lightsabers from the series, and I think we'll get that version of Ahsoka.
That would be cool.
Because the Legion version is technically her.
Yeah.
So I think we'll get that version, but I don't know when and who with, because obviously the series isn't out if you're watching this when any time near we're filming it. It's not out yet. So I think we'll get that, because then there'll be 3 versions of Ahsoka in here. That's fine. 3 distinctive versions of her in the lore.
I think they've created that. I mean, I like a Yoda set, which I think we'll get.
Wants a Yoda set.
Just Yoda and Grogu and Yaddle. I'd be happy with that.
I don't think that'll come in one set.
And can we have a random Yoda species as well in it? I don't know, it'd be really funny, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I'd be happy if they started
just
doing
a little group of Yodas.
If the next thing they announced for it was we've got a Revan box set, I'm in forever.
Yeah.
We're going to go to the Old Republic and we're going to do Revan. Right, sign me up now.
Do you know what I'd like? I'd like them to do our models from Knights of the Old Republic online game. That would be hilarious.
Because that'd be a cool little thing, with 3D printing and everything. If someone made like generic Star Wars ones at this scale.
Yeah.
And then like Hero Forge, make a little crate.
Yeah, I love that.
You could recreate your characters from Knights of the Old Republic.
That'd be awesome.
and them have like a little skill set creator and stuff. You can actually build the characters and stuff.
Yeah.
That's going really in depth. Maybe if this runs long enough and is popular enough, maybe it'll
given
do
the fact
something
that
like that.
you and I teamed up on that and we were just badass together.
Oh, nice
we
of
were
you
just
to it.
badass Siths.
Yeah, that's the MMO I like. Well, it's not really an MMO, to be honest. So.
Yeah. But no, I just wanted to see what your thoughts on the box set were.
At the price we got it, yes.
Yeah.
That's a discounted price. So we got this from Chaos Cards. We've also got some from Magic Madhouse, and I've pre-ordered some with Zatu. So my advice to anybody is shop around for what you feel is affordable, because everywhere's got different prices.
Yeah.
And keep an eye out for bargains. Chaos Cards has had some really good bargains. I'm not sponsored by them. It's just I have a Star Destroyer next to me as well for Armada, which was about half price. So I've been waiting for something like that. So shop around and decide how far you want to go with it, because you might not want all the sets, and you don't need all the sets. Like in Legion, like I said, there's not like cards in there you want to switch sets around with. You might just go, I just want, I don't want any of the Clone Wars stuff, or I don't want any of the new era, sort of the new, not New Republic, the Galactic Empire versus Republic era. You don't want any of that. So you can buy the sets you want. There's 4 models in each set. That makes it easy to stick together, pretty easy to paint and get into, and get molds on the table, and actually play games, which is the thing that's lacking from a lot of our hobby. We go, oh, we're going to play this, and we never actually do.
No.
We do that as well, and I know lots of people that do the same thing, just don't get a chance to play the games because we're too busy doing other things. A lot of that time's taken up by building the models and painting the models. At least in this, you got a set of four, that's 8 models. We can do that. I mean, if you do like the battle droids, that's more models technically, but stuff like battle droids are really quick to paint, which you'll see in the video that I do. So I'm going to do a video on them, and we'll see how that goes for time and everything. Whether I do any other videos, but we will do an unboxing video for the terrain, and when Count Dooku and Obi-Wan do show up, we will do unboxing videos for those. So stay tuned for that. But unless there's anything else, what do you think of the box set? You didn't say.
No, I think it's a really nice box set. It's you've got everything you need to play it, like you say, and again, like you've pointed out, it depends on how invested you are in that era of Clone Wars, and in Star Wars, really. If you're not invested and you don't like Star Wars, then don't buy it.
Yeah.
It's not for you.
If you're on the fence about Star Wars anyway, this is not the box set for you.
No, you've got to be.
If you prefer Marvel over Star Wars,
Crisis
going back
Protocol.
Protocol is great.
Yeah. But for me, I mean, I think you've got, like you say, you've got to shop around and get a good price for it that you're comfortable in paying. But if you're going to buy it at the top end of the scale, I really wouldn't. I'd wait for it to come down or be in a sale or something.
There's offers everywhere for this, and there has been a pre-order, and there still will be. So shop around. It's not like you have to walk into the store and buy it full price like Games Workshop. So.
But for a box set that you can just pick up, put together, and play right away, it's there.
I mean, we've stuck it together quite quickly, and we've had to take lots of breaks to go and see Robert
and that. But
there's box sets we've had of stuff that's taken a lot longer to stick together.
Oh wow, yeah.
So this is just. I mean, if I wasn't going to paint these separate, this would essentially be ready to go and play now. And we might do some playthrough videos of it as well.
Yeah.
So we'll see how we go. Again, time's a constraint, but I've thanked you about 3 times now for watching. If you've watched this far, you've earned an achievement. And put in the comments that you've earned the special Pantheon of the Geeks achievement for watching this far.
Yep.
And there we go. So please join us again for more videos, and like and subscribe, and hopefully we'll see you again soon.
See you soon.
Bye for now.
Bye.